Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you all. I'm excited to welcome you all here today. I hope you've had a pleasant day so far. I'm excited to welcome you to a brand new session of the Career Transition series organized by the Institute of Product Leadership. My name's Harleen, and I'm your host for today's session. The Career Transition series is to help you gain insights from individuals who have successfully transitioned into product management and marketing or accelerated their careers into product leadership. Right? In today's session, our speaker will share her experience and her journey on making a career transition from being a technical writer to becoming a product marketing manager. Once she's done presenting her story and her journey, we'll open up for questions. You can keep your questions ready and post them on Zoom in the Q&A section. This session is also being streamed live on LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn viewers, please feel free to post your questions in the comment section and I'll share them with the speaker, right? Okay, then let's kickstart today's session by welcoming and introducing our speaker for this evening, Ms. Tanwistha. Tanwistha is the product marketing manager at Zeotap. Her passions lie in content, product, and marketing, which she combines to drive growth, marketing success, and strategic product positioning. Her professional journey began as a technical writer. She has also worked at a couple of exceptional startups, after which she gradually progressed to her current role of product marketing manager, which she'll be sharing with us today. Right? So pleased to have you join us this evening, Tanvista.
Hi, Harleen. Hope you're doing good.
I'm good. How are you today?
I am good and all set for the session.
Okay, I look forward to it. The screen is all yours.
Okay, so share my screen and hello, everyone. I hope everyone have finished their day and possibly it's going to be a Tuesday, end of the quarter. I'm assuming it's going to be light, but again, next week onward, the hustle for the next quarter is going to start. So let's start with for today's session. So I'm Tanvishta. I have 13 plus years of experience in working with product content and marketing. I'm based in Bangalore. And as Herlin mentioned, my passions lie in content, product, marketing, which I use very passionately to drive growth and strategic positioning. I'll tell you more about what exactly I do in the next slides to come. I'm skilled at product positioning, messaging, sales enablement, product launches, stakeholder management, content marketing, marketing research, analyst relationships, and a few more items that I'll be telling you more. Apart from that, as I said, I'm based in Bangalore. And out of LinkedIn, out of my work, I am a sari and Indian textile influencer on Instagram. And I'm a very vocal enthusiast around that as well. My hobbies include writing, painting, watching a lot of movies, and of course, staying up to date about everything that is happening in the realm of product marketing. I'm always up for mentoring opportunities, and I'm a very strong believer in community building. So at the end of this session, if any one of you wants to reach out to me for personal one-on-one mentoring opportunities, do let me know. Okay, let me take you through my journey so far. So I started in 2011, and for the initial 2 years, I worked as a technical author in aerospace. I have a diploma in aircraft maintenance engineering. I started working as an intern with one of the flying clubs. I gave up that job because I realized within the first 1 month that this field work is not for me. Whatever we read in the classes and in the textbook was something different from the reality in the market, which is why I quit the job. I came to Bangalore and I started working with Airbus as a technical author at that point of time. It had nothing to do with what a technical writer got to do and what I'm doing right now. Uh, I mean, probably the first 2 years after that, I realized that this role is definitely going to be a bit stagnant, and I will not be finding it extremely challenging to continue for the next years, which is why I started finding out the possibilities of other similar roles that could bring me closer to software. So until then, I was nowhere close to the software industry. Whatever I was doing was entirely into the aerospace domain. So when I say aerospace domain, it's a totally different domain, and it is not a product that I was working on, and I was majorly working with engineering drawings and things to do something as a technical author at that point of time. I realized that I don't want to do it. I started my journey as a technical writer. I was good at writing. I did a few certifications, and then I got started into working as a software technical writer. Predominantly, I have worked with startups and small and medium-sized companies, which is why I've always been very fascinated about what the world of product is all about. Having said that, here is something that made my role as a technical writer a little different from most of the other technical writers in the market is I was in all these years for like from 2013 to 2020, I was always working within the product team. So my role of a technical writer or a UX writer or an API writer was not within the engineering teams. I was closely working with my product team. Having said that, it means I was working closely with the product managers, the UX designers, right? So about like almost as you see, kind of like 7 to 8 years in that role, and uh, I've been involved in creating the documentation portals or knowledge bases entirely from scratch. So when I say entirely from scratch, I literally had to fiddle around every people in the organization who has some information or use the product myself and kind of build an information architecture around the documentation portal and get going. While doing all these things, while I was very close to the product team and working very closely with the UX team to create UX content, uh, do a bit of information architecture, understand the user-centric design, I still felt that what I'm writing was about the what part, the how part. I was not really questioning why. Like I was not getting close to understanding why are we solving this problem, or if we are solving this problem by this particular process, is our competitor solving it in this very way, or is that can there be a different way of solving the problems? What are the other questions that the customers are asking? This is exactly what got me thinking into going beyond my current role of technical writer, API writer, or UX writer. When I mention these roles, it means that I have been doing all these for the last during 2013 to 2024, almost 7 to 8 years. And that's when I started talking to quite a few of my ex product managers, current product managers in the company that I was working on. And I realized that product management is something that possibly I might be interested in. Of course, I had my own challenges. I had my own doubts of thinking, I mean, probably thinking and finding that, okay, I'm motivated to take this step. And then after a few days, I go back and thinking that possibly I'm not good enough. I don't have the right skill set. So what should I do? And I'll tell you what exactly I did in the next slide, like how I actually transitioned. But before that, let me take you through the roles that I've covered. So that's when I started understanding that, okay, product management is possibly the area that I want to get into. It doesn't mean that I want to get into it today and I can get into it tomorrow, like within like a day's time or probably a month's time, right? It actually took me years to understand whether I want to do this and then transition. What I did was I started talking to my existing product managers, some of my ex product managers. I started finding out more people on LinkedIn who had similar career trajectory as mine and had successfully transitioned into a product manager. Thankfully enough, the I which is exactly what has got me very interested into community building, because I believe LinkedIn has immense possibilities of helping any individual who is in the need for that right guidance and has the bandwidth to spare that time. I of course had that bandwidth. I had planned that, okay, this is something that I really want to do. So even after my 8 hours of dedicated work as a product content writer, like I was the only person in the organization at that time doing that particular job. So I was like, it was extremely demanding. So even after finishing work, I would dedicatedly, like dedicate kind of like 3 to 4 hours or 2 to 3 hours every day to figure out, okay, these are things that possibly I need to start understanding, reading, to be able to convince myself that, okay, this is the role that I really want to do. Then came a chance like I started understanding that can I do it by myself? There are many people who are self-taught. There are self-taught product managers. Can I be one of them? Then I realized possibly this is not the way that I would want to do. I'm a better uh, I mean, for me, probably a guided framework or a dedicated timeline, a dedicated timetable works better, which means that I needed to enroll myself into a kind of probably a learning session. It can be something as simple as Udemy or tutorials on YouTube, reading books, or a dedicated classroom session, something that I actually took up. After having done that, I realized that, okay, now is the time to make the move. And I could either do it internally or I could do it externally, right? So I started speaking to the product managers in my company. And at that point of time, I have that's the benefit of working in startups, I would say. It's a very challenging environment, and I think everyone is up for challenges, and they're very welcoming to your newer ideas and what you want to do. They're always ready to push you. I got my mentor in my organization at that point of time, who was a VP of product at that time, and after speaking to her and my ambition, what I'm wanting to do, I realized that she had a different path planned for me. So after like almost 1 month of discussions with her, I realized that in the organization at that point of time, we had quite a few product managers, which meant that we do not need another new product manager. What was a gap that had to be bridged, and that was quite a big gap that had to be bridged, was the product marketing aspect. Having said that, I mean, I'll tell you more about the role of a product marketer, but that's kind of how my actual transition in real life scenario started. I started working as a product marketing analyst, shadowing the existing product marketing director at that time in the organization. We figured out what are the gaps and all between the product and the marketing and the GTM team, and I started taking up smaller tasks and working towards it. And almost for like 1.5 to 2 years, so to 2021 to 2023, for almost a good 2 years, I was still transitioning and shadowing and doing everything as a product manager would be doing in a challenging startup. And then finally, last year around this time, I officially moved into the role of a product marketing manager. So, I mean, there are a bit of differences in the responsibilities that I was doing as a product marketing analyst and then as a full-fledged product marketing manager. But that's how I started like a year back. And I moved from the product team to the GTM team, which made it easier for me to understand the customer centricities from the very depth. And now, right now, as we speak, I'm the only solo PMM in my organization. Um, Coming to the point that how did I actually plan this transition, right? So I've already covered a few points here, but I'll still try to explain each of these phases that I did, and I'll definitely take your questions at the end of the once I'm done with the slides. First is the self-assessment part, which is what I told you guys, right? So I spoke to my existing product managers. I also spoke to other technical writers, UX designers whom I've worked with or people whom I've found on LinkedIn, and started understanding that what were their roles and responsibilities they were doing, and whether I would want to do it, right? And before because I know quite a few people who invest money, invest time into figuring out something, and possibly after a few months down the line, they lose track of it, or because I wouldn't say that's because of lack of dedication, but it's also because of the bandwidth. Some cases, because we are like, having said that, I have already 10+ years of experience in my portfolio, which meant that I was above the mid senior level, right? I mean, I was kind of the mid senior level, so mid senior to senior level. So for me, the responsibilities were more, and I could not really neglect them. So whatever I had to do, I had to assess myself while doing the current role that I was doing. And this is where one of the frameworks that I personally followed came very handy. We can possibly keep a note of these framework. It will definitely be helping you. It's called Pacadi framework. So it's P for problem. So I started by identifying the problems that I was facing in the current role, like lack of self-satisfaction, like I was doing more of operational role than something strategic, right? I wasn't doing something very functional or business centric. So that was something that I was always thinking and questioning myself that whether I want to do that. So I kind of started by understanding the problems in my current role that I really want to overcome. Right. Then I found out the alternatives. Right. What could be the other alternatives? Uh, Now that you know that started as a product manager and then I ended up being a product marketing manager, right? So there were other possibilities that I was looking for, whether it is a scrum master, whether it is a product owner, PSPO, whether it is a product business analyst, or it can be a UX designer. So I started finding all these other alternatives that I could possibly get into. And then again, my evaluation, speaking to others and understanding and evaluating, I realized, okay, product management is possibly something that I really want to do. I started finding the criterias around which that why do I want to do this role? So my challenge is the problems that I was facing in the current role. With this shift, will I be able to bridge that gap? If yes, then possibly this is the place where I can give a green tick and I can go ahead. And then the various other alternatives that I said, I started rating them in terms of numbers and a bandwidth, the support, knowledge, right? How much of knowledge will I have to acquire in case it is a UX designing role that I want to switch? Like, for example, UX designing, you need to be good with certain number of tools. For business analyst, again, there is a certain number of numbers, data, and tools that you have to be skilled with, whether I wanted to do that or not, right? So this is how I started doing my analysis. And finally, in the Pacadi framework comes the decision and the implementation stage, the last two. So I made my decision that, okay, product management is something that I want to do. And then I came about finding out how can I implement, right? And come up with the right approach to execute the plan, right? The decision that I've made to become a product manager, how can I implement it? So, which is how it like that's where probably LinkedIn came as a very handy tool to me. Even before becoming a product marketeer, I was very active on LinkedIn. I have always been very vocal and active on LinkedIn because I have loved writing. And I was always networking and talking to many people in the community. And that's when probably I got to know more product managers, UX designers, UX writers, and other people from similar roles who had transitioned into my role. And thankfully, I got my mentor in my organization who actually groomed me and helped me move into this particular role of product marketing. But otherwise, also, I realized that apart from having a mentor, I need a set framework or timetable or a schedule to take me through the fundamentals of product management, right? There are different stages. Like it's not something that I can do overnight or probably in a month's time. It is a dedicated study for at least 6 to 7 months and then actually working on pet projects and getting into the real life work scenario. So, and that's how I probably found out IPL, Institute of Product Leadership. And there are various reasons why I zeroed down onto it because I needed something uh, that would give me a classroom kind of environment uh, with dedicated material that I can go back and read and refer. Of course, very interactive classroom environment also along with the recorded session so that I can have I read them and I come back. I have any question, I ask my mentor. I can do a one-on-one session. I can discuss with the other group mates, and we can actually solve problems live during the class or even after the class is over. And like I can book a one-on-one and I can do that. So IPL kind of gave me all these possibilities of uh, evaluating and studying and the exact framework that I was looking for. Then once these were done, I kind of uh, action plan, right? For me, the action plan was upskill part, I told you already, and preparation. So preparation, what I did, like in my organization, by that time, I already knew that I needed to bridge the gap of a product marketing manager. So I started started shadowing the existing product marketing manager who was a director. He being an extremely skilled product marketer for so long, he taught me many things. Of course, there were things that I was learning entirely as a blank slate, and there were things that I would go back and read. And I mean, reading was something that I was doing almost every day. I would start my day reading, and I would end my day reading. So, having said about reading, there are two types of reading that I was doing. One was a domain-centric reading, product domain-centric reading that was making me a better subject matter expert for that particular my product domain. And the other one was about the frameworks. While I was already reading in going through the session in Institute of Product Leadership for everything around product management, I was using those frameworks to actually solve problems in my current role, right? So coming up with frameworks, with templates, identifying the gaps, the customer pain point, right? And I pet project, right? Like for example, at that particular time in my organization's entire user experience was being revamped. We were doing it entirely from scratch, and I was part of that project, from customer discovery calls, understanding their pain points, mapping their user journeys, designing prototypes with the product managers and the UX designers, again going for calls to find out, validating a design, doing a bit of A/B testing around which design works better, and then finally framing, coming up with that information architecture for the newer design. Having said that, I actually got my pet project in my organization, but otherwise also there were various projects that I was working on while doing my certification with IPL. So these kind of helped me prepare, upskill, and be ready with my action plan. Then came the time for interviews and to be actually ready. So for me, I didn't really attend the interviews because I was doing an internal transition. But even though it was an internal transition, it took me almost close to 2 years to do that exact tag of product marketing manager, because we need to understand that I was working in a startup, and in startups, I mean, it's not that we have two or three people doing the same work. At that point of time, I had a particular set of responsibilities that I was carrying on, and I could not really give it off to anyone. Of course, I had taken up a writer to support me, but even to groom that person and make that person at par to the knowledge and the capabilities and the specialities that I was bringing into the role, it took me some time, but we finally could make, I mean, could actually get it done. Then comes the other challenge, because it is an internal transition. A lot of people might still be doubting you because you were good at doing task A. Now you want to move to task B, which is very different. So I had to constantly prove myself. And the only way to prove myself was to say no to nothing. Anything that came to me from product team, from marketing team, from customer success team, I was always up for it. And with the product marketing director being my mentor in that role of product marketing, and the product team supporting me entirely, that okay, Tanvi, you can go for it, and this is something that we really need in the organization as a product marketing manager. With this entire framework behind me, I knew that I was ready to be the product marketing manager, and I started showing them with numbers and results, and that is how I officially moved to the role. And right now, as we speak, I'm the only product marketing manager, and I'm handling almost everything around product marketing. So now you've been hearing two terms, product manager and product marketing manager, right? While many of them, I mean, though product manager itself cannot be like understood in one session, but I'll try to cover the different areas that the responsibilities of a product manager lies, and how it is different from product marketing manager. Okay, so the first thing is, as you see in this slide, there are three quadrants. A product is defined by its feasibility, its desirability, and its viability. Whether it is feasible for your team to build it, whether you have the right resources, right capabilities to design it and build it. Desirability, do you already have desire in the market for it? Like you already have customers looking for it. You already have a product market fit or a solution. So you know people who are looking for that problem to be solved, which means there should be that problem in the market. And second, there should be customers who are looking for you to solve the solve that problem for them. And then viability is like you always have this business objective, right? So in order to make a product feasible and desirable, you should always counter the third quadrant, which is viable. Like by doing that, am I going to bring some viability to the business? Means, I mean, are we going to, I mean, what will be the revenue that we are going to get, right? Are we going to achieve the business objective? Is my product vision and objective aligned to my business objective? What are the metrics and KPIs that I'm tracking, right? So these are the three quadrants. In like, if someone wants to transition to a role of a product manager, I'm not saying that you have to do everything that you see on this slide, but these are areas where you will definitely start with. You might start with the feasibility factors, user design and user research and designing, development and risk management. That's the entire agile methodology and agile product management part of the entire product management life cycle. Domain knowledge, of course. I come to product marketing or product management with absolutely no technical knowledge. I'm not a technically skilled product manager, but I can say that I have enough depth of understanding of my domain, which is why I said that I had to do my readings in two ways. I had to do my domain knowledge reading, and I also had to do reading to uplift my skills for this new role that I was trying to get into. Coming to desirability, we have the product team and then you have the GTM team, right? The team that takes the product to the market, the go-to market team, which includes your sales team, your pre-sales team, your BDR team, your marketing team, your customer success, the partnerships team, all these people. So as a product manager, you need to have alignment with that. With the product team, engineering team is this part, and the other part of the organization, which is the GTM side. Customer feedback. So that's also a reason why I gave you the example of revamping our entire user experience that we did last year. And that was because of various feedback that we were getting from the customers, right? So what exactly is your customer looking for? And is your feature or product being able to solve all of them? So you have to have that connection with your customers to understand that the problems that you're solving, is it actually solving their pain points, or there's still some gaps that are staying in that process of trying to solve the problem for them. Then, of course, when all these things are considered, you have something called a product roadmap. Of course, I think all of us by now know what's the reason for a product roadmap. And then comes like, as a product manager, you need to figure out which of these features that I'm trying to include into my product roadmap aligned with my product vision should be prioritized, right? Uh, Quarter 1, Quarter 2, Quarter 3. So all these are different areas that are cover the responsibilities of a product manager. The last quadrant at the bottom is the business acumen, which I said that we have a business objective, then we need to build our product vision and objective aligned to that, right? And accordingly, we have to set the metrics and KPIs, and of course, the pricing and the revenue model. What stays in the center in that triangle that you see is, I think you would have heard the different teams that I mentioned till now: product, engineering, UX, GTM, sales, customer success, marketing, partners, pre-sales, BDR. Without having a sound mind to be able to manage multiple stakeholders, you cannot be a good product manager. So stakeholder management is the key to becoming a product manager. I'll take you to the next slide quickly about what a product marketing manager is, and then we will closely end the session, and then I can take more questions. So this slide might look a bit overwhelming, but trust me, it is almost similar to what you saw earlier. So if I can quickly explain it to you, product manager is someone who's building the product for the customer and understanding the customer's need, pain points, and challenges, trying to bring in that differentiator into the product with its different features and modules. And the product marketing manager is someone who's taking it to the market, who's launching it. So if something is inbound, product management is inbound, as in like you get to hear from the customers what is the need and things, and you build it. And product marketing manager is someone who voices out to the customers. It need not be only the customers, it can be prospects. So the different layers of the sales funnel, basically awareness and making them able to attract them and then finally convert. So that's kind of the difference, main difference between the product manager and the product marketing manager. Uh, with as a product marketing manager, these are the different touch points that you would ideally have in your organization. So you have the product team, the first quadrant, wherein you're responsible for taking care of product launches. I think most of us would have heard the term product release, right? Something that is deployed into production, that is called a product release, right? Product launch is a little different, like which is the right time to talk about that product release in the market, right? So that is the thing. Then comes the marketing team, with whom you so there's something called brand marketing and something called product marketing. So product marketing and the main marketing communications has to happen hand in hand, because you cannot really communicate out in the market unless and until you don't know the right channels that you are having access to, the right time, the right budget, what are the different kinds of collaterals. That means a content plan and the right messaging. And of course, what is the industry looking for? So those are the aspects of the marketing communication side. Other part is, a lot of us would have heard customer success teams, right? And the partners team. So these two itself, I mean, this quadrant of customer and partner marketing is in itself so uh, big and vast that this itself can house a different set of role called customer marketing and partners marketing, because this is something that, depending on how big your organization is and how many customers you have a lot of possibilities only around this quadrant. So it is something around case studies, getting the PRs, press releases, better product adoption. So today you release, that's what I said, you're doing the product launch, you have released it, you have done a beta release, right? You have got two customers into it. Now you want to move it and upscale, I mean, adopt other existing customers into it. So you cannot really do it single-handedly if you do not have the right connection with your customer success team, right? They would know the growth and the stage of their customer in the life cycle, and they would know their pain points and how you can actually map this feature, the one that was beta tested for two clients, can also be useful for this particular customer B. Maybe A and C are already a beta client. Customer B can also be a possibility of, can also have the possibility for you to upsell this product. So this is called product adoption, and you cannot really do it unless you're working closely with the customer success team. And for all these SaaS products, you have a strong partners team, right? Wherein we work around different integrations, technology partners, implementation partners, integration partners. So there are a lot of possibilities as a product marketer to create a lot of buzz and adoption, joint value proposition around this quadrant. Uh, Apart from that, when I talk about the business acumen, right? So every company would have a certain business goal that they want to achieve. It could be something around the kind of vertical that they want to go, whether they want to expand horizontally or vertically, right? Which kind of accounts they want to go after, which is the vertical they want to go after. And each of these accounts, each of these verticals will have their own challenges, their own requirements. And that is where a product manager plus a product marketing manager has to work very closely with the GTM team. Because request for proposals is something that cannot be done single-handedly by the GTM team. If all of people who have joined this session would relate to it and understand that it's not just product managers who are responsible for answering the RFPs. The product marketing manager also gets involved into this process. Then comes the sales enablement part, which is we are building great features. You're taking them to the market, but your sales team is not well versed, well knowledge, well equipped to go and face the next sales call, to go and talk to your prospects, right? So you need to create uh, battle cards for them, like the comparison between what is the uh, differentiation that your product is providing compared to the other competitors. While doing that, you also need to understand the objections that they might be facing. How can they handle it, right? And then, of course, as I said, this is a very well-known problem. We have this demo accounts and we have people giving demos, and most of the time these demos are very uh, are not really customized. They're very uh, focused on basic fundamentals, and it may not be updated based on the product launches and the need for that account, right? So as a product marketer or a product manager, you can influence them. And then the last quadrant, which is very something that the product marketing manager does, in at least I have been doing it closely, working together with the product managers. But depending on the size of the organization, the last quadrant can be driven entirely only by the product marketing manager as well, which is market research, persona development, competitive analysis, and analyst relationships with big firms like Forrester, Gartner, and all. So again, as I said, in product management manager's role, you cannot be a good product marketing manager if you are not skilled or level-headed to manage stakeholders properly. I mean, many say that being proactive, being creative are some of the key skills of product marketing manager. But if you ask me, I would say being able to manage stakeholders similar to how a product manager would do, you need to be very good at it, because you can see that the number of departments in your organization that you are every day in touch with is quite big, right? Then that is it almost. Like, these are majorly my points that I really wanted to cover for all of you. And this is my LinkedIn account. You can, of course, reach out. And now I can take questions. Harleen, can you help me with that?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, Tanvistha, for sharing your journey. Right, that was great. We haven't received any questions yet, so we'll wait here for a couple of seconds. Maybe people were waiting for you to be done and then ask their questions. Until then,
Okay.
please accept this certificate of appreciation from the institute for your valuable time and for sharing your journey with us and all the attendees. I'm sure everyone's gotten some great insights to how to go about transitioning into product now. So thank you for
Thank you,
joining us
Harleen.
today.
Thank you.
We've received a question on LinkedIn from Jayant,
Okay.
who has asked, how can I gain practical experience in product management if I don't have direct access to PM responsibilities at my current job, and the kind of side projects I should be doing to build relevant product experience?
Okay, nice. And I'll give you my first-hand experience how I did. So as I said, there could be two ways, right? So most of the product managers, ex-product managers that I was discussing with before actually making this transition, they all told me that it can be as simple as creating a website. Like, just identify something that you want to build, and then find out the problems that you would be trying to solve, or extra value that you would be giving with this particular website. I'm just giving a random example, right? Otherwise, what you could do is, this is where probably institute of product leadership came very handy to me, because in this we had a set structure, right? And in that, we had to take up projects to submit. So it's not that we were just reading, we were actually reading and being able to execute that learning in terms of the uh, the demo projects that we were working on, basically, and you could get evaluated. So either way, even if you want to do it in a self-taught manner, there are multiple tutorials on YouTube or Udemy, anywhere. But it's good that you start creating a pet project, right? And like, it can be as simple as your website. And next is this. And the other point that you mentioned was in the organization. What was that point, Harlin?
They said that if they don't have any product related job responsibilities right now.
Okay. So I didn't have anything related to do anything close to a product marketer or um, probably a product manager, right? Because I was called into the user-centric design discussion because I showed my interest. So I would say, be very vocal, be very open to discussions with seniors and mentors in your organization, be involved directly with the product team. I know a lot of my colleagues on connections on LinkedIn who work as technical writers, who work as UX writers, who work as business analysts, and they are not close to the product team at all. But you need to figure out what you really want to do. The first part that I said is like taking up a pet project is something that you can do as an external project and show it to them, or you could do like you could find out someone in the organization with whom you can discuss the new transition that you want to do and try to solve their problem. It can be anything. It can be something like just managing. Mm, it can be as simple as shadowing the PMO's task, right? Prioritization of task, right? You have the roadmaps. You can be someone who can just say the senior product manager that, okay, I'll be shadowing you and I'll just be here to help you finalize and prioritize this task and bring it to completion. It can be as simple as that. It can be working closely with them to help them build the PRD, right? It can be as simple as working, telling them that, okay, let me get involved into the UX team to build a mock-up, right? Or it can be something as simple as getting into a customer feedback call and say that, okay, I'll be just staying there and taking notes. So just be available for any smaller bits by which you can be probably you can get an entry into your product team or into that core area of product functioning, because that is how I figured out. And every organization has a different way of working. I'm not saying that the way it worked for me might work for you, but you have to figure out that particular way how you can get into that zone in your organization. Because I personally feel being able to transition within becomes a little easier. Not having said that, not that you don't have to do the you kind of have to do the same level of learning. You have to go through the same exercise, same set of tasks that you're doing if you're transitioning separate, but still you kind of have your own workforce, right? And because you're in the product, you know the domain. uh, you can find experts who can teach you and help you be an expert of that domain. So these are some of my tips. I see a question
Great.
in this chat.
Shall I read it out in case
Yeah, you
so
can
everyone
read out. Yeah, sure.
Saiti has said, I am currently transitioning from a technical writing background into product management, and I have minimal domain knowledge in this field. What steps can I take to overcome this challenge and position myself effectively for roles in product management, especially in the absence of internal transition opportunities?
Okay, so first is, as I said, domain knowledge. So you have to do a bit of reading. So understanding what domain is your product in, right? There should be some domain. It can be an HRMS domain, it can be a medical domain, it can be anything, right? So find out which is that domain. Start reading up more around it. The current trends in the market, the current uh, s- challenges that products in that particular domain are trying to solve. As you are a technical writer, I'm pretty much sure you already know the competitors who are there in your domain, right? So try to find out and read how they are solving the problem. So that is the only way. So reading, going through tutorials, listening to the webinars, being able to, you have a lot of these videos on YouTube which tells you life of a product manager in this company, or day in the life of a product marketer in that company, right? So try to understand what they are doing. And there are and trust me, I think most of the product managers and product marketing managers are non-technical people. They're not someone who has got into the got into this role with vast years of experience as a product manager or a product marketing manager. They've all started by understanding one area of the domain at a time. I'm not saying that you can learn the entire domain in one day, right? Coming to the next point, as a technical writer, because you are writing for the product, I I will be extremely pained to know that you are not working with the product team. I'm assuming that you're working close to the product team, or at least you have the engineering team, or you at least have the QA team who can help you understand the problems that you're solving. So the difference here could be a product manager will be able to tell you the problems that we are solving in a better user story per se, right? How the user lands into that problem, what is their challenges, how are we solving it, what is the differentiation, and this is the value that we are providing. This is something that the product manager will be able to tell you. But trust me, as an engineer or a QA, they will also be able to tell you something about the problem that you're solving. They might be able to just solve you the how to part, right? As a QA, they would be knowing at least like, okay, what is this particular bug we are solving for? What is this message, right? So get into understanding the various whys of your product. Why are we solving this? Why are we doing it in this way? Why are we not doing it in the other way? Right? So those are things. If internal transition is not available, the other way around that I said is there are many organizations who look for people with some kind of certification. It can be anything around product management. It can be a product owner or a product management certification, but some kind of certification ideally they look for, right? Because you're doing an external switch and not an internal. I'm not saying that in an internal you would not need it. See, I chose it away because I understood that I need a framework to learn and study and understand things, because I wanted a structure to it. If you want to do that, you can probably take up a certification that becomes easy to be noticed. At least people would say that, okay, this is something that is added as a tag onto your profile, which means you at least have basic sound understanding of that, of what a product manager does, right? Or the fundamentals of product management. This is how I would say. And two more points that I would just want to add here, which I think I haven't really covered yet, is like when you've made your mind, it is very important that you be active on LinkedIn. It need not be LinkedIn. It can be any other community also. There are a lot of other communities on Slack and all, but you have to be active in any kind of forum or LinkedIn or any other place where you find like-minded people talking and discussing and being able to help you understand the aspects of a product manager. It can be anything. It can be as basic as a user-centric journey. It can be anything as a business model canvas. Just understanding the challenges of the customers that you are trying to solve for. So get into that limelight, and that is probably like, if you ask me, if you are active for at least 1 month on any of these portals, pretty much sure that you will have some knowledge as a product manager. So you have to start with those baby steps.
Great. Thank you for that answer, Tanvista. We have one question on LinkedIn, which is not product related, but I will ask you anyway. Bharat has
Yeah.
asked, what other interesting roles can we transition into from tech writing?
Okay, so quite a few others are there, which I think I was also analyzing them at one point of time. Uh, I personally think if someone is having an uh, knack for design and is working very closely to the product team, I mean, design thinking or user experience design is something that they can possibly explore. Other things could be a product trainer. That's also something very interesting. Uh, See, I know with the likes of ChatGPT and things coming up, maybe the role might get a different definition. But trust me that one-on-one personal touch in terms of corporate training will always be a need in the market. So that is also another possibility. There could be other areas of probably customer success, right? I find this role to be extremely important. It may not be, if you're someone who is not having a very strong technical background, but understands or likes being close to customers while also being in touch with the product and the GTM, then customer success role is very good for you. But I really, honestly speaking, I do not really know what would be the framework to move into it. Of course, that might also have some specific set of certifications that would be needed. But if you're working in a product company and kind of been interacting with customer success teams day in, day out, you can possibly reach out to one of them and just have a chat to understand how did they transition. And of course, you have LinkedIn for it. So these are some of the other roles that I would say. And of course, if you are interested in content, right? If you're really interested in content, you can always move into marketing as well. But again, having said that, marketing has a huge area. So marketing operations is again something that is interesting. You have a lot of tools and things to define automation for the role of marketing, right? So that is also another possibility.
Great. Thank you for that, Tanvista. We haven't received any other questions, so I think we can wind up now, right?
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you once again for joining us and sharing your journey. I'm sure everyone here, got some great insights and advice to go ahead in their transition journeys. Thank you for.
Thank you, Harleen. Thank you. Nice chatting with all of you. And it's always a pleasure to connect with you. And you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn as I shared with all of you this. And probably Harleen will also be sharing the recorded link, right? The recorded session for
Yes, we
today.
will be sharing.
Link. Okay,
Yes,
so you can reach out to me anytime.
of
Thank
course. Thank
you.
you,
Good evening to
Prathan.
all. Bye.
Thank you to all our attendees for joining in too. I'm sure you've had a fruitful time at this session, right? I look forward to hosting you at one of our future sessions. Until then, thank you and bye. I hope you have a good rest of the evening.